Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, welcoming you to my namesake program, Enfuegotainment, for another Rapido review here in quarantine. Craziness. So much to discuss, though, and so much has been watched. And I just caught up on a film that was a Patreon request on my main YouTube channel, The Horror Show. And I, unfortunately, with deadlines, crunch time, all that different shizzle, I didn't get the chance to watch it and participate in the review. This is the new Jeremy Gardner film, who is a buddy of Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson, who actually helped produce this movie. Those guys, I mean, Endless, Spring, The Endless Spring. Awesome cats, and I love everything that they've done. I haven't seen any of Jeremy's previous work, though. I think that he was in The Endless, though, if I recall correctly. Maybe he was in Spring, too, but lo and behold, he is a face that I recognize, and he is the star of this. He is a, co-writer and the director, or maybe it's the other way around, writer and co-director, whatever. He is basically the man behind After Midnight, and this is a very interesting film. It's strange in the fact, though, that it really makes itself out to be a monster movie. Like, is it or isn't a monster? You know, especially based on, like, the posters and stuff like that. But really, at the heart of this is a deep, emotional drama. You know, and I am a sucker for films of that nature, which is why when I was like, oh, we're reviewing this for the horror show, we had done a review of the trailer where him and his goofy buddy are out like hunting, trying to track down this creature and stuff. But I mean, the aspect of this creature showing up is really secondary to the fact that it's really a story about this guy who is like the love of his life, who he has been with for like a decade at this particular point, just up and disappears. And the mystery of the film really is trying to figure out where she went. She's not answering phone calls or anything of that nature. She is legit off the grid, and it's him descending into depression, drinking, and yet every night this crazed creature presumably coming to his door, clawing, messing stuff up, might have eaten their cat. Like, who the hell knows what's going on in that regard? And really, it's the guessing game of, well, two different guessing games, really. It's like, what has happened with his lady, and then also, is there really a creature? And Justin Benson is actually in this movie as the brother of his longtime lady, and he's also like the local sheriff or something. This is in rural Florida where this takes place, and I mean, so beautifully shot. It's got a score that is just like right up my alley as far as like, you know, kind of twangy, hipster, indie sort of thing. And I love that sort of stuff, man. I mean, like Iron and Wine, Calexico and the Rains is one of my favorite albums like ever. And, you know, I dig, Bright Eyes, I know that's Oklahoma, Saddle Creek and stuff like that, but I dig the hipster kind of country sound. I'm down with it, man. Even though I play heavy metal, I like a little bit of everything, and that's just the Nico Case is good. I'm down with it. So the score is tremendously cool. There's even one point where the song is initially playing, and then he walks into the bar that you later find out he owns this bar. He also owns a vineyard. I mean, he's got a really dope looking house, even if it is a little dilapidated and kind of run down. I mean, he's got a very nice setup going, and that's where it's like, why would said lady leave? There's so many flashbacks to these very sweet, tender moments throughout, whether it's hanging out on a hammock, whether it's banging in the washroom. I mean, it's a very well acted movie. It's a very well made movie. The problem, I guess, that I have with it is because it's a lot of different things that don't always gel necessarily, I guess. And I mean, maybe that's a common complaint. I haven't really read any reviews or anything about this. I know that it made some noise on the festival circuit last year in 2019 when it initially came out, and it was obviously liked enough to be requested on my main channel, but I gotta say the monster stuff didn't work for me. It really didn't. Or is there a monster? And just like the whole angle of, it's really, the film works the best when it's just him dealing with the sadness and the depression and hanging out and drinking with his buddy at this bar that he owns that I mentioned and stuff. Like, that is where the movie is at its strongest. And it's something happens in the third act that I don't want to spoil. It's really, really crucial, and the whole what is really going on with these two respective scenarios that I mentioned and just the guessing game in that aspect is really the crux of this, and I would hope that a lot of reviewers did not spoil where the woman went, if there is not a creature. Like, these are really important things that if you go in pretty blind and not knowing what's exactly transpiring, that is what is going to bring you the most fulfillment with this film. But for me, upon finding out what was really going on and certain aspects of that, I didn't dig that as much. But the relational aspect and the acting between the leads and the chemistry that they have and everything, Jeremy and this little blonde cutie who, you know, talking about peanut wine and all this other stuff, she's great, you know, and he really sells just the anguish and the sadness that he is experiencing. Like, I am definitely going to go back and check out the other stuff that he did before this. I think he has 2 other films under his belt that he directed, and I hear that they do veer into more of the like comedic aspect of things here that I enjoyed so much. In the few scenes that we get him, Justin Benson's great too. You know, half of you know, the team behind the aforementioned, you know, Spring and the Endless and stuff, and I'm very excited for their next movie, which is like full-on sci-fi from what I'm recalling, at least offhand as I'm doing this discussion. But yeah, After Midnight was enjoyable but disjointed, I guess is the best way I can describe it. And it really, I feel like it overstuffed the turkey with, you know, trying to be one thing and then trying to be another thing and trying to make them coexist and counterbalance. And I don't know, the very, very, very end of the movie is incredibly fulfilling. I will admit that I was happy about it. But the third act veers into territory where I was just like, huh, okay. But yeah, it's not really a horror movie. It's a drama with horror aspects in it, which is why really this is the perfect film for me to cover here on Enfuegotainment as opposed to having discussed on the horror show, because that's where I discuss like the full-fledged, just scarific insanity. But yeah, there you have it, guys. I've been Jaime En Fuego. You can find moi on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, obviously. I've done lots of these sort of smaller film reviews since everybody has been locked in their homes. We're talking Vivarium, we're talking The Wave, we're talking even throwback stuff like Empire Records, and you know, even like Still Bill, the documentary about Bill Withers who recently passed. And of course, and the years since I relaunched this channel, there's lots of nerd-tastic stuff because I am a geek in a metalhead's disguise. You know, there's lots of Star Wars and comic book film coverage and stuff of that nature, both of the actual novel, film, you know, graphic novel variety. But I mean, really, this is my counter-programming outlet for stuff that youtube.com/The Horror Show channel is, you know, really keeping on lockdown. We're talking like the really vicious, scarific stuff, film reviews, trailer reactions. Boy, we've done makeup tutorials, convention coverage, unboxings, video game let's plays. Our output has been stifled and kind of marginalized to a degree, you know, because of everything that's going on in the world right now, but it is still forging forward. That's where we have like over 32,000 subscribers compared to here, where I am creeping towards a Jeezy. But then again, I didn't touch this channel for about 2 years until relaunching it in 2019. So yes, a grande gracias. Please like, share, subscribe if you dug this video, everybody. It is supremely appreciated. And I guess that's going to be the end of things for today. So until the real of comes around once more, hasta luego, Cinemigos and constant readers and viewers alike. But I am hopeful that we get to share more of this palaver sooner rather than later. And until then, stay healthy and yeah, don't go out after midnight in Florida, obviously.